mission or something. Just yeah, use your checks, please, lads.
It's very professional.
Except for the scarf.
Professional is one word for it.
Yeah, no, wouldn't go that far.
No.
Definitely wouldn't go that far.
Am I a bit dark? Do you reckon I need like some sort of light to light up my forehead?
I wouldn't worry too much about it.
No one will be looking at me, you reckon?
That's another way of putting it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of Whisky Roundtable, a very special Whisky Roundtable because it is our last of the year. And after this, your Wednesdays will be free not to listen to us and do whatever you want to do. My name is Scott Fitzsimons. And tonight we can prove to my mother, to Puddle's auntie, and to all our mothers that we do have friends because it's Christmas drinks with friends tonight here at the Oak Barrel. It's been another huge week in whisky, as they all have been this year. It's been a long year. Arguably, the year's been a couple of weeks too long for some people, but we're going to get there. There's only a couple of weeks left to go. We do have to make a quick apology for absence with the formidable and insatiable Alex Dahlenberg being called away very last minute to go and do some work at the venue that she works at. I would like to say that I empathise, but I don't know what hard work is. So we are thinking of you, Alex, tonight while you work hard and we have fun. We normally will have a drink every time Alex swears. So tonight we're going to have a drink every time we think she might be swearing at the venue. And if we don't know what that is, we might have to prank call the venue a couple of times just to make sure that happens. Joining us tonight in her absence is Matt Bailey, who is wearing a Santa hat and an OCD shirt. He didn't pay anything for the shirt. Don't worry, that's okay. It's all freebies here. Andy Milne seems to have traded his job for a banking job somewhere with the look of that warehouse somewhere, but that's all right. But as I said, Mum, we do have friends, and they are all joining us here tonight. We might have a few more coming through. In my screen, at least, we've got Jared from Starwood in the top left. We have Peter Bignell all the way from Tassie and Tassie's finest internet in the Brady Bunch to the right. John Jarvis, not far from him, a little bit further south in Tassie and Hobart. It's smack bang in the middle, at least on my screen, is the outwards from backwards. Now, tonight's going to be a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about our highlights of 2020, our hopes for 2021, our best drinks, our favourite drinks, all with a solid dash of optimism. And we're going to kick it off all by saying, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being our friends during this year. Thank you for watching in the various places you have watching. Thank you for all the internet bots for pumping up our live stream numbers throughout the year. But before we get into all of that, what are we drinking in our glasses? I'll kick us off because I do have a gin and tonic in a can because it's 2020, and that's what happens in 2020. And there are no more rules that apply. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is in your glass tonight?
Thank you, Scotty. An intro fit for kings, as always. I've cracked the next one in our advent calendar, which is a Toasted Oak 39, which is a liquid for some of those playing at home. But actually, good timing, and I'm surrounded by those who work in the Australian side of the industry as well. A TIB bottle just turned up today in the post, so I might crack that as well. I haven't decided yet. I probably will.
We are working on a Zoom stream tonight to fit as many people in as we can. So I want to say a quick g'day to, I'll be jumping around the Facebook comments as quickly as I can, to James Finnegan. Who says, better have a drink now then. Don't know what that's in relationship to. Probably how itchy this stupid tinsel is around my neck, so I agree. G'day to Gaza down in Tassie, to Adam Sauters. They're on the Whisky Roundtable stream. I don't know if, Bailey, you've got a little bit open on the society page there. If you do, maybe not. You got no friends. That's all right. Don't worry about it. What else?
What else? More viewers on the society one than on the others, so that's okay. That's okay.
Backwards, has the tequila come out yet?
No, we've planted the seeds for the agave though. No, a little bit of a wait. Might be even longer than the whiskey.
We only drink our own booze, so
that's called palate calibration.
Yeah. I've got a G&T to start off with tonight.
We're shamelessly plugging our own spirits tonight. She's got a backwards G&T, and I've got a backwards batch too. Which is running out, so I'm trying to drink as much of it as I possibly can before it's all gone. Yeah.
Create that scarcity. I like it. Marketing 101.
Yeah.
Jared, you said you're a bit dusty from your staff Christmas party. I'm going to tell everyone on there air that as well, so sucked in. But what have you got in your glass on a Wednesday night instead?
Nice big cup of water.
Oh,
No, I actually got a bottle of the Backwoods batch 3, but I left it at work, so I should have been drinking that tonight. But I'll get stuck into that tomorrow. But I've actually got an old Yalumba brandy.
Ah,
Try something
brandy.
different. So get cracking into that tonight. It's much more softer on the palate than a whiskey, so it's great.
It was a liqueur brandy too, wasn't it? Might be very easy sipping with a hangover.
Pure brandy, yeah. Very, very going down very easy.
Yes.
And Peter, what have you got in your glass? What have you got in front of you?
Well, I've got a couple here, but the hot malt whiskey, Belgrave hot malt whiskey, that's what I'm sipping on at the moment. But since I noticed on the front there was a tequila night, so I've got here's some Fortaleza.
Hey, good gear. Very good gear.
Good
I've
gear.
got three different bottles of 3 different ages, and actually given to me by, I can't think of his name now, the owner of the distillery. He came here, probably a couple of years ago now, and he gave me 3 bottles, which is, very, very, very pleasing. Yeah.
delicious juice, that stuff.
Is that a South Road product by any chance?
No, it's not. Vanguard.
Right.
Yeah,
We obviously do a slightly more superior tequila.
There it is. John, what have you got in your glass? What's going on with? Very impressive. By the way.
I have this mystery bottle that I found on my desk. I don't know what it is. It's whiskey, but I don't know how it got there, and I don't know what it is.
That's like my sample drawer in my office of just full of samples, and I have no idea what half of them are.
It turned up. I think maybe Distiller Ben put it there at some point and was going to tell me about it, but I figured it was as good a time as any as Christmas to try it. So
Yeah, awesome. And Milne, what have you got in your glass?
I've got to remember what I poured now. Old Pulteney 15.
Ah, good man. Speyburn 15 is a lovely drop. Nicely done.
Lined up my favourite whiskies of the year that are in the office, and I'll work my way through them all.
So how many did you line up, and what are the ones you lined up?
Well, Speyburn 10, 15, 18, and then Speyburn no age statement.
Speyburn 18 hasn't made
Speyburn
it
Distillery
here,
Reserve,
but-
Speyburn Founders Reserve,
Yep.
Speyburn Milne's Reserve, Speyburn,
South Trade
Hulmer.
exclusive. Don't forget the Australian exclusive Speyburn. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Good.
True.
and the Milne exclusive for Milne's only globally. It's a little project I'm working on.
One of one.
Old Pulteney 15, Old Pulteney 18, Dublin Liberties 13-year-old, Starwood Fortis. It's probably one of my favorite releases of this year. Corazon Blanco, because tequila. And that's my first collection, and I'll carry on grabbing things as I go.
All I'm hearing is no Hobart whiskey, though. Is that?
Yeah. Wow.
Rude.
I mean, you invite me onto the stream, and you don't even pretend.
I don't have it in the office. It's
In the office, right? Yeah.
Even I've got some Hobart whiskey in the office here somewhere.
I've got some fine Czechoslovakian whiskey that I was tasting today, but not.
Is that the
anything else.
89 stuff?
No, it's a bizarre release from someone that I was I went away for a week, and literally 24 samples ended up on my desk from multiple countries and places around the world, and just very, very strange moment of coming back to find all these things. It's like, wow, are you interested in all of this random collection of things?
Czechoslovakian whiskey. Are you interested in Czechoslovakian whiskey? That's the question.
I'm confused. The frustrating thing with whiskeys like that is they're often great products, but how do you sell something where you're the only product from that country? And it's a real challenge, and it's a shame because it's a hindrance on world whiskey as a category. But at the same time, if you as a consumer were looking, would you buy a product where it's the only thing that you know from that country, or would you buy it from a country that you knew was making it for years? I'd love to know, actually, throw that to the Australians. At what point do we think Australia was actually recognised for making whiskey, and was there a pivotal moment?
2020, wasn't it?
August 2020.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I actually have a very unique position on that, and I think I've talked to Jared about this before, actually. but it was, I think, recognised. I mean, you know, you've got to sort of go back to the 90s, and you've got to go back to Larkin, Cradle Mountain, and all those kind of mobs. But I think that was sort of almost the second era of Australian whiskey in many ways. Obviously, if we're going back to sort of, well, okay, third era, yes, I'll take third era, but third era of Australian whiskey in many ways, and it was an interesting start, and some strange tales told. But you know, that's why I think even now I haven't had a chance to, but I was reading this fantastic book written by author escapes me called in Australia, Intoxicated Australia. It was a Max Allen book or something.
Yeah, for that.
Yeah, great book, and he talks about how he walking around the old Corio site, and it's like I'd love to walk around the old Corio site and just get a sense of the scale of what it was. I mean, that was to pretend that didn't exist is kind of absurd, rather than so. But recognition, that's a different question, I guess. I don't know. When was it? When I think it's still happening. Obviously, 2020 is not that much of a silly answer, to be honest.
Quite a heavy question to start off with, though, Milne. Just let's solve all the world's problems to start off with.
Yeah.
Start with the big hitters.
I thought maybe Leroy was going to jump in with some Gold Rush history.
I was
hanging out to do.
Well, there is one question I would like to ask, and maybe we can come back to that on the topic of Australian whiskey in 2020 and where that looks. But I think it's a bit of a nice and clean question to ask, and I want to throw to the backwards from outwards first. You see how I got that one mixed up, and see if you're going to pick me up on that one. That's how we do it. That's how they do it in Victoria. Always put it backwards. But your 2020 highlights, and I dare say I'm going to put words in your mouth, particularly Lee, because I think I saw a photo of you in the car about a week ago at this moment. So what does it feel like to be officially a full-time distiller as of about a week ago and never have to deal with children? Because as we know, children are horrible people.
I think that photo just said it all. It was a feeling like no other, to drive out those gates for the last time and just sort of farewell that part of my life, which is, you know, it's been good to me, but I've sort of been working, we've been working at the Backwoods thing for 4 years, really. So it's felt like a long sort of finish. So
Is that why you've been having naps every day? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've started well. My first day of freedom, I had an afternoon nap.
Your first day? You've had one ever since you finished. He's either napping or talking to Dean from Corowa.
And then I've been having cereal for lunch.
Yes.
He's living the dream.
So my follow-up question is, Bree, what's it like having Lee in the house 24/7?
Well, like I said, he spends most of his time on the phone to Dean.
He's my man wife.
He's your man wife. I always have to have him home over school holidays. So I'm kind of used to it in small bursts, but yeah, ask me again in March.
Peter, do you have a highlight of 2020 in a year of plenty of lowlights? Can you pick out a highlight?
Very definitely got a highlight. I don't know if you can see this. Is that
Gordon Ramsay.
Who's he?
Yeah.
He runs a fast food chain, I think. He's big on.
He swears more than Alex.
That's good. I've actually been to North Hobart Macca's. Is that the one he runs? Okay, fair enough.
I mean, though, Peter, your highlight relates to sheep shit. Is that?
Yeah, I had him shoveling sheep shit here. Yes.
So the highlight is making him shovel it. Is that my takeaway from this?
Yeah, I made him shovel it. Yeah, that's the highlight, get him to shovel shit. That's right. Yeah. And really, honestly, you know, it was that's what basically saved me and got me through the COVID, because if it hadn't been for that and the publicity I got, I would have been struggling, because, you know, my local sales, they dropped way off. And I think anybody who's got whiskey that's a bit more on the expensive side had trouble with the high price stuff. Cheap stuff went better, I believe, but the high price stuff didn't. And my local Australia-wide sales, they dropped way off. But saved by Gordon, and international sales is still ticking along quite nicely.
Mm. So saved by Gordon. There you go. That's a hashtag.
Yes.
Didn't even have to go on Gordon Ramsay's nightmares either. You know?
He didn't swear either. On the show, every time he swore, it was beeped out.
Well, I just, funny you mentioned that. I've just had unconfirmed reports that Alex Darlenberg has realised that she is not on a stream when Peter Bignell's talking. So she's just sworn at Mjolnir, which means I'll have to do a shot for her because she just swore for the fact. So I'm thinking of you, Alex. Jared, any highlights from your year? Just in general about things that might have happened. Just what gee, that's great for that itchy neck. That
looks like it's really hitting the spot there.
Yeah. Any highlights for you?
Well, apart from my first time on the round table a couple of months ago, that was definitely a highlight of the year. But also,
that's nice. It's a lie, but it's a nice thing to say.
But also, we released a lot of cool whiskey this year, including the bottle that just appeared before was the single cask for the oak barrel. We've done a lot of cool stuff this year, so the oak barrel bottling, and also the release of Fortis. That was a really enjoyable whiskey to put together. It's kind of it was nice to go around the distillery and around the bond store and cherry pick out all the best wine casks that we have and put them together and release it as now a core product. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the highlights of this year in a pretty quiet year in Melbourne.
Mm. Before we jump along, just a few people on the chats here. Whiskey's my jam tuning in, saying his vote for when Australian whiskey really became sort of renowned, probably quite an obvious one. 2014, the first time Sullivan's Cove won a World Whiskies Award. James Finnegan is drinking Belgrave Holy Shit in his glass tonight. Officially the envy of every American whiskey drinker that's watched that show, that sends me emails about when it's next coming out. So read them and weep. And Kirsten Kane says, of Peter Bignell, I believe he's big on TikTok. So congratulations. That's something that you can say that I can't say. I don't even know how TikTok works personally.
I've no idea about TikTok.
You're big on it.
You're big on it. That's all that matters.
You're big in Japan.
Jared, if I can just go back to you just for a second. When we spoke last time on Roundtable, one of your Melbourne wasn't quite at that sort of like peak second wave yet. And that was, I think it was just before that sort of whole thing kicked off. What does it look like being a blender, and how did that affect your role as being a blender for Starwood in that capacity?
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting time because I couldn't really work from home. Most of my work is in the bond store and tasting through some barrels. So we were fortunate enough that we could work through. Just the production team was on site, so it was a bit of a skeleton crew. But it was right. We obviously the sales through bars and restaurants dropped off, but we still managed to keep selling through the online, the retail shops and online as well. So plenty of work to keep us busy. But yeah, it was an interesting time, that's for sure. Yeah.
I just wondered what it looks like to do blending from home when surrounded by all the casks.
Yeah, I did do a few days at home taking home cask samples. So it was nice to have a bit of a sleep in a few days, just drinking a little bit of whiskey, and then back to bed for a while. I hope no one from Star was watching.
No, but unfortunately, it looks like
Lee's getting all the ideas.
Did you have cereal for lunch?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love how that's your idea of like freedom.
That's freedom. Living.
But why couldn't you just take cereal to your work and have it for lunch?
Too judgy.
Be judgy.
Just eat in your car, like.
So the kids walking around the car.
You've got to think about these things.
A quick g'day to Jesse Morgan, who is commenting in that weird place that is the YouTube comments. I don't know. I have no context for those comments, so I'm not going to read them out loud because it's just weird and it's YouTube, whatever. John Jarvis, any highlights from 2020?
So I've had like 3 answers to think about this, and no, I can't think of anything. 2020 has been a bit of a blur. We put out a core range item for Hobart Whisky, I guess, but otherwise it's just, I don't know. I just don't know. No. What Jared said, joining the Whisky Roundtable all those months ago, highlight is, we've got to say that, right? It's, I don't know. It's just 2020 is nearly done and dusted. It's just, yeah. I can't think.
The sponsors will love this. This is how we'll sell this content for next year. so well.
Well, you made us record like the pictures before we started.
Yeah,
filming,
yeah.
so
No, if
you
we just keep on needing those sound bites though. The more and more you say them, the
And thanks again to Kaio for sponsoring this roundtable yet again.
If you are on KO tonight, you can of course watch the Big Bash.
Oh, sorry, I said
just
it way
to prove-
too formally. I'm sorry. I said Kaio.
And just to prove we are live, Jay Clark is out for 35 off 16 balls. Bold Puran, Bold Hatcher leading the SCO, which I think is a relevant
What are you
neon-coloured
talking
team
about?
from somewhere.
Oh, he's
Leaves
talking
them
about
at
cricket.
2 for
Just stop.
63
Stop talking
off
about cricket.
7.1.
Stop talking about cricket. Okay, good.
this is
John Jarvis,
this is a good idea because if we can get SCG to sponsor us, then I can go to the New Year's Day test.
I like
I
where
don't
you're
have to
going.
pay for the
I like where
tickets
you're going.
and maybe I upgrade to a suite.
Yeah,
You know,
but I think
we'll happily host from the SCG. You know,
Roundtable can go on a national tour next year around the country.
Exactly, and we can go to every national cricket ground and every test and host from every international cricket game. I think this is a great idea.
But Melanie, I think
we're bringing two communities together: whiskey and cricket. It's a match made in heaven.
The lovely,
ICC,
really intelligent,
check your emails because we're
absolutely
in them.
beautiful people who run the SCG Trust. They'll make their own decision. I trust them to make the right decision because they are honestly some of the best people in Australia.
They are.
John Jarvis, I almost made a highlight for you because I did see very briefly a Daniel Hutchins-Reid appear in the waiting room, and I was about to let him in and he disappeared. So I don't know where he's gone. Maybe he'll come back. Right. But if there is anyone who's watching that would like to join us in the Christmas party chat, feel free to send me a message or send Whisky Roundtable a message and I'll flick you the link. A couple of comments coming in. Whisky is my gem. Correct answer, John Jarvis, would have been spending lots of 2020 with fellow whiskey drinkers in Hobart.
That's what I was saying, you know, like between the lines, that's exactly what I meant, you know. I'm glad Mark is there just to help fill in the blanks for me because...
And can we get a drum roll, please, from everyone around the round table, everyone sitting at home and all you Asian internet bots we've paid tonight for our next guest, the big daddy of Whisky Roundtable, all the way live from Thurso in Scotland, if the internet in Thurso in Scotland is Big Daddy Mark Westmoreland.
Oh, welcome, Mark. Good to see you.
Daddy's on mute.
Well, that's another thing. If someone talks while on mute, everyone has to do a shot.
Can you hear me now?
That is strong.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, I've just dropped my daughter off at work. I was actually going to stop in the lay-by outside Stirling Castle and go live with the castle in the background, but it's still a bit dark, so yeah, I wouldn't have got the full effect.
That's the ultimate flex. It's just like, do you have a car? You don't have a castle. Oh,
you don't have a castle behind you.
It's just my castle.
But what's even worse is he didn't actually even do it. He just told us he thought about it.
Sorry, Mark, it's still a bit dark there. Is that what, like 11 a.m. midday at the moment there then?
I'm lucky if the fog or the har lifts today. It looks a wee bit dreich, as they say.
That is one of my favourite words ever. I think it perfectly sums up Scottish weather to a T.
You've got to say it with a bit of saliva in your voice as well. You know, you have to say dreich. You know, you've got to get that. You've got to get that out. So how's everybody doing? You know, a good old spread on the old on the Zoom chat. It's always good to see.
Christmas drinks, Daddy. Come on, that's what it's about.
Well, it's 5 to 9 in the morning here, so I've got some
just gin for now. Then we'll upgrade.
2014 sherry, but to have a wee go at later on, just to have a look at how it's progressing.
And how are things in Scotland? Because I had a text from my mum the other day saying that they were planning to head into London and spend Christmas in London because none of the kids are home, and so they were going to enjoy that and go to some bars and restaurants, and they've just cancelled that because London's in tier 3 now. So I'm presuming Thursday's a little bit lighter on the cases, Just your population
Yeah,
density is probably giving you a favour there. But how things up in
Highlands tier 1, so Highlands fairly decent. Stirling's tier 3. The English sort of tier systems and the Scottish tier systems are a wee bit different. You would expect that because
always you're always going to have one unique edition. Or it's the Lord's Prayer. Even I love that the Lord's Prayer is different in Scottish and in English.
Depends what religion you were back in the day. Trespasses and debts and everything else that goes with it. But that's maybe a wee bit off topic for this lovely. But it is the. You know, it is
the time. It is the time of the year for prayers, though.
Exactly.
That is a good,
well, prayers and sins in the UK and debtors in Scotland. You know, this is the time where we count our pennies and.
Oh, I'm tight. I'm tight and that's tough. You know, I really am. But yeah, how's it been? Relaxed gatherings between 3 or 4 families, I think, at Christmas. But they're advising you, if you can, not to travel and stay within your sort of zones, your council areas. There's a new strain of COVID apparently in the UK. So we just don't know what's happening. Me, I'm quite happy. You know, bah humbug. I'll stay at home with one of my daughters for Christmas dinner, open a few prezzies, have a few sherberts, and then just chill and relax, you know.
A couple of snowballs, you know, get the Advocar out.
I'd actually be quite fascinated to see if just like what a Christmas in Thurso looks like compared to a Christmas with, you know, Peter Bignell at the Belgrove Ranch. You know, is it? Do you get? I mean, farmers don't get days off, Peter. So, like, what does your Christmas day look like?
Yeah, no, I'm going to have the day off. I know in the past, you know, we've been fencing when cattle got out on the road on Christmas Day and that sort of thing. But if you don't have to do anything, well, we managed to get it off. Now I'm mainly whisky distilling now. The farming, I'm hoping in a way that the rye's not ready to harvest. It's actually the rye harvest, or most of the harvest about a month early this year. So the rye's getting very close, but no, we can put it off a few days. We won't be doing it on Christmas Day or going to my son's place. His wife's cooking a lovely lunch for us.
Very cool.
Yeah. And Mark, you were saying about your limited travel, you know, within certain boundaries. You don't want to rub it in, but yeah, we've got limited travel here too within our boundaries. The coastline of Australia, that's where we've got to stay.
I know it's, you know, I was lucky enough to get over there just before the lockdown. You know, I was in Melbourne and Sydney in February, and next year I had plans to come over in the summer to do a sort of mini tour, but that's all been sort of knocked on the head. But yeah, it's a big old country, and the good news for us, we've got a pallet of Bonnie Wolfburn coming in, but it's been stopped by the customs for a random check. So fucking happy Christmas to everybody.
Oh,
sod's law. You know, if this year couldn't get any better, but we'll get through.
I missed that, Mark. What's coming in?
We've got a pallet load of whiskey coming in, and it's been held up at customs for a
sorry, I got it now. Missed what the pallet was. Good.
Yeah. Check. So
I can vouch for the sheer frustration of customs and stock moving around. If I would say who is the highlights team of our year here at South Trade, it is by far the guys in our supply chain team, where the immense work and just the craziness that they've had to deal with of you know, the beginning of it all in March, April. The confusion was a case of where are we going to get containers from and how's that going to work? And then it just developed from then on. It's just like, well, new restrictions and new quarantines and other things would come in, and all of a sudden it's like, nope, you can't have this, and nope, this has got to wait. So I respect anyone that's has to deal with that in this period, because it is, you know, and Christmas makes it worse. It's just an absolute nightmare.
I just want to see, it's like Skippy, the Cocker Spaniel on Border Force Australia, at this pallet. You know, so at least we'll get a bit. As long
as we make it onto TV, then it doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, save a moment for Border Force Australia. You know, that's a TV show that's completely died in its ass this year. And you know, imagine that TV crew. We can't, you know, humiliate other genders and other races for the fact that they brought in things from other countries. So, you know.
But 90% of it's staged anyway, so they can still do that without people coming in.
One release that did make it through was the Summer 2020 from the Stills release, which was meant to be a distillery exclusive. So we managed to get our hands on it. I've saved one bottle. We're going to open it in our first whiskey tasting back next year. A couple of comments on the Facebooks here. Kirsten agrees, I believe, with the comments on a few people working in customs and that sort of things. And g'day to Daniel Hoper, who asks, is Daniel Hutchins Reid our latest guest on the Zoom chat? He's sitting in the gutter. I believe so. After the day he's had, I think he's sitting in the gutter.
I snuck in. I don't know who let me in, but they let me in. I shouldn't be in here at all.
Daniel Hutchins.
He's right.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
DHR, brand ambassador extraordinaire for the wonderful Archie Rose Distillery. Mate, how you doing? You're rubbing in a bit of Sydney summer there for our Scottish guest, but how is the weather outside?
Breezy, a little bit confusing, I'd say, but overall not bad. That's my.
Where the hell are you?
I'm currently in Kirribilli, and seeing as that I'm now in here, I'm currently waiting on an Uber, so I'm going to bring you with me for my Uber trip as well.
Uber Lux. This guy rolls.
You're around the corner from me. Pop in the
Don't tell Will. It's not Uber Lux. Well, we'll find out soon.
Very
when
cool.
when he turns up.
Let it never be said that Whiskey Roundtable does not bring you breaking edge content. We're going
Breaking-
to brand ambassador in
Wait,
Uber.
Wait,
Never
leading
seen
edge
before,
or
live
breaking
on
point, like-
Facebook.
Purely by luck, it happens to be a Lexus hire car, but this is not Uber Lux. This is standard Uber.
Nice try, mate.
Well, I was going to try and ruin your Uber rating.
Very cool.
Whiskey industry, apparently.
Yeah. I'm going to mute him while he carries on there. While we have that going on, whatever is going on there, Jared, what does Christmas Day look like for you in the Hucksholl household?
I'm traveling back to South Australia this year, so actually haven't been back since last Christmas. So it's going to be a good big family affair. All the Christmas classics on the table, lots of ham, prawns, whatever else we eat. Hopefully, a lot of drinking gin, a lot of beer drinking. Because no doubt, being in Adelaide, it's probably going to be about 40 degrees. So whiskey's probably off the table this year, I reckon.
And it's that Adelaide 40 degrees, which means that it's dry and you want to die.
Yep, exactly right.
I know the Adelaide summer well. It's
Dries your eyeballs.
Yeah, dries your eyeballs out and you feel like death.
Yeah.
My first Christmas in Adelaide, I made it and my luggage didn't, and so I had what I had from the flight, which was a pair of boots. I bought shorts because I realised that I was going to be ending up here and not. I just knew that my luggage was going to make it there, so I turned up to meet my wife's uncle and aunt for the first time in boots, shorts, and a t-shirt, and just sweating buckets at 46 degrees. I was like, I'm not in a good way, please.
Yeah, nice.
Jared, that must be a bit of a relief, though, to be able to get there, given that, probably a month ago that was a bit of, up in the air.
Yeah, exactly. We were kind of planning to stay in Melbourne over the Christmas break because it didn't look like borders were going to open, but luckily things have turned around pretty quick. So yeah, it's going to be really nice to get back home, get out of Melbourne for a while. I love it here, but it's going to be nice to go for a bit of a road trip this year. So yeah, no, it's good. It's going to be a nice change.
Driving
nice change of scenery. Yeah, we're going to drive back. It's always a fun drive, that one. 8 hours of nothing but nothing, really.
Yeah.
Just while we're on the topic of boots, I just quickly found a photo from a few Christmases ago that I spent in Victoria in a little town called Officer, which is just near Pakenham,
I know
where my
Officer.
grandparents grew up in a house that unfortunately, they sold on the acreage. It's now development. But the family got together. It's going to quickly share a photo of myself. You'll probably be able to pick which one I am, drinking some gin out of a mug. Wearing boots, and my Uncle Craig, who is a Victorian, sometimes a watcher of this stream, doing it correctly. I just think we'll see the difference between New South Welshmen and Victorians when it comes to heat, based on this photo. When I share that one, I don't know if you can see that there now. There you see, just to point out the key aspects of this photo, Craig has the stubby. He's got his feet in the ice with the fan holding at him, still in jeans. Taking a few knocks there, the old jeans, but still in the old thing. So I think for people who just want to talk about the difference in heat capacity between New South Welshmen and Victorians, that's a pretty good indication.
What were you drinking?
Is that a cup of tea?
No gin.
Gin out of a cup.
Gin out of a mug.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In Tasmania here, it's hard to get used to the temperature. Yeah, 2 days ago it was 38 here, which is quite a bit warmer than Hobart. And today, just as I came in, it was 13. So we never get bored with the weather down here.
No. Scotty, moving on to next year. Shall we do the rounds?
Well, just quickly, actually, before we do that, we had one question, Bailey. Maybe if everyone wants to go on and suggest like a Christmas Day whiskey, because we've had a few people across a couple of streams ask what their Christmas Day whiskey is.
And we've been talking about, like, Jared even said, it might not be whiskey weather, but if it was, what would that look like for each of us here? So starting with you, Peter.
For Christmas Day whiskey?
Yeah, what's your Christmas Day dram?
Yeah, just here we are. Because I said I was going to my son's place for Christmas lunch, and my son's involved with me with
Remnant.
Can you read that the right way around, or is it back to front?
Yeah, no, it's the right way around. You're all good. Yeah, it might be backwards for you, but it's right way around for us.
Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah. So it's
the Rem. Yeah, Remnant. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool.
My son and I started that off with a couple of other investors here, so that's what we'll be having for Christmas dinner for sure.
A very noble effort as well. That whole setup, that was fantastic. Atwoods.
I buy something to drink on Christmas Day every year, and this year I've got up there on the shelf of Bakery Hill, just a classic cask. It's
very nice.
Favorite, so grab myself one of those.
Great distillery.
I like a Tim Boone on Christmas.
Yep.
Cakey.
John, hit us up.
All right, so I reckon people should go a Hobart Whisky Winter Feast 2019, just so that people that have a bottle can like flex in chat that they have a bottle. And it's got like, it's a rum maple cask, so all the maple goodness and rummy goodness coming together. So I'm sure there's something there. But
all right, I'm imposing a new rule for the next person I ask. Mark, what's your Christmas whiskey that's not a Wolfburn? I can't win. It's okay.
Bailey.
I won a bottle of 25-year-old Glenfarclas at a raffle the other night. So yeah, that.
It's just raffles.
Casual raffle.
Yeah, exactly. You might be like to win like a slab of beer, a chook, or a meat platter here. You're getting a 25-year-old.
I actually won a bottle of Wolfburn, and the guy that was doing it's crazy. I put Wolfburn in as a prize, and I actually won a bottle. And the guy said, "Look, we can't have it. We'll give you something else." And it was Donnelly from Glenfarclas that was doing the tasting as well. So he says, "How about a 25-year-old?" And I was like, "I'll bite your hand off for that." Classic drunk.
That's the difference between the raffles at castles as compared to RSL.
Yeah.
Australia versus the Parkless 25.
It's when you let a distiller run a raffle. I think that's the key thing that we've realised here.
Brilliant. Yeah, get it done.
We had George Grant out in Australia earlier this year. And he came over from Dramfest, and some of the stories he told were truly wild.
Yeah, I've been in George's company a few times, and I've never managed to keep up with him.
No.
Talking and sampling.
Both. Yeah.
The amount of non-public information that I have heard about George that never make it, or I'll never be allowed to say it live. But my God, it is a man who has lived his life to the fullest and enjoyed every moment. My one highlight of his that is safe to say is I recall him turning up to our office in London one day, and I got a call from security at the door, and they said, "Oh, there's a fellow here," and I put him into the bar. But he's here and he's asked you to come down. And I come down, and his request was, "Can I have a t-shirt or a shirt? Because I've got curry sauce on mine from last night." And he hadn't been home. And he was here for a meeting, and it was like, it would look far better if I was in a correct shirt. I was like, they're going to know that you're in one of our, because it's branded from our company. It's like, it's not subtle. Like, you might as well go in your curry stained shirt and go, "Oh, I spilled something on this morning." And it's like, no, this is a better decision. I'm like, okay. sat in a meeting with a Elements of Isla t-shirt, just like, yeah, no, this is normal. Like,
Andy, I've got to say my favorite one of his was actually when he was in Queensland, and he won a 7-foot tall Bundy bear, a Bundaberg bear, a white bear, polar bear. And it was a competition at a pub in Queensland that he won. And he had to find a way to transport a 7-foot teddy bear to Scotland, and he still has it. He has this 7-foot Bundaberg white polar bear in his office out of Glenfarclas, and he couldn't get apart with it, so he found a way to transport it to Scotland. It's like, of course you won a Bundy bear at a pub in Scotland. Of course he did, because that's just George. Mr. Hutchins-Reid, you've been following along, and what are you jamming on Christmas Day that is not an Archie Roast product? There, I said it, sucked in.
It's car 1 to car 2 now as well.
Yeah, he's just swapped out Ubers.
Yeah. First one wasn't good enough. It was just a Toyota Camry.
Oh yeah, it was just
he's waiting for that sweet Tesla to come and pick him up. Yeah.
Like the timing. I think I've timed it pretty well too, haven't I? I just got to sit in the shadows while you all told us stories about John Grant, and then here we are. Well, tough call. I think I've a fair few Adelphis to crack into, which I'm very much looking forward to. But I've got to try and narrow down this list this week, because it's things I'm planning on taking camping. Essentially, I'm hoping to not be near any bars or my own collection over Christmas. So it's a tough call to make. I think there'll definitely be some Starwoods in there too. As far as a single one, not too sure. I may actually be up around dropping in on the old Crafty as well over Christmas, because I'll be up that way. So yeah, we'll see.
Camping and Crafty sounds like fun,
doesn't it?
Beautiful part of the world. I can't forget if we've been through, John, but David King suggests that you'll be on the Shandies come Christmas Day.
He's just a fucking idiot. Just ignore it. Can you mute him?
Yes, this is everything we need for a Christmas stream.
And to be fair, it's generally how we treat our viewers anyway. So
it's amazing when we don't have Mum to govern us. Sorry, Alex.
This is Alex is going to watch this back, and she might even be listening at work. In fact, she's listening back at work, and again, I've just heard her swear at work. So as the rules go, that's a shot for everyone.
Now, Jared, you said it's not whiskey weather in Adelaide in summer. So what will you be dramming on? What's your gin of choice then?
What am I going to drink? I've always got a bottle of Four Pillars floating around, so that'll no doubt take a heavy hit. Trying to look at my shelf. What else I've got?
Something special you might open for Christmas.
I'm going to drink something South Australian. Maybe we've got some Iniquity. I'll take a bottle of Iniquity with me, and I'll share that with the crew.
Yeah, nice one.
They've taken the same approach. I think I've got some Never Fruit Cup to take across for me. And
that stuff is dangerous. That Never Fruit Cup is a dangerous one.
Yeah, it is.
It was plowed through most of one at Haynes & Co. once.
I think that's a good summer one to drink, and then probably something like a Starwood 2. It depends, because I can't take too much I always feel like I end up filling my suitcase with so many other things that then by the time it gets to adding bottles in, it's like, oh God. I think I've got to take a couple of bottles of red wine to my father-in-law as well. So
Other way around, you add the bottles in first. Prioritize. Bottles in first, then clothing and other shit.
but we drink a lot of wine over spirits most of the time over Christmas. So I
How
feel
do you make the wine float on top of the spirits in the glass? Is it like,
You know what?
is it you pour it on an angle or something, or how do you make them float on
I
top?
think you got a drink for that one, Scotty.
yeah.
Fair enough. It was pretty good there. Come on. It's getting hotter and hotter. My jokes are getting worse.
Affecting the brain activity.
Yeah, and they've turned pink as well, so God knows how my drinks are going. But
Guys, I've actually got to leave you because I've
You
got to
do you.
I've got to go and find Alex actually in person. So
say good day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
say good day from Roundtable.
tune back in and force her to be on here with me.
Sure.
Yeah, good luck at the reception in that joint, but
yeah. Basements are known for signal.
Nothing can possibly go wrong.
Thank you, DHR. We will see you on Roundtable at some point early in 2021. We are sure.
I look forward to it. Enjoy.
Merry
Yeah.
2020.
Bailey, your Christmas Day jam?
It'll be something sherried. I don't know what yet, but it has to be something sherried. It has to be something.
An SMWS though. Like the rules you put in place. So.
It won't be SMWS. There you go. Fine, I'll say it. I'll find something else that's good and sherried. It's not SMWS. That doesn't exist. But I mean, I'll give it a go.
Why does it have to be sherried?
I don't know. It's like that whole sort of like Christmas sort of thing. Like you don't want sort of like I don't know. I as Scotty knows, and as you know, I'm a big fan of sort of refill bourbon, and it works year in, year out. But I think for Christmas you need something rich and sherried to go with the Christmas cake, and I think something sherried would work.
Surely,
I think
the richness of the food, you want something light and delicate.
You're wrong, but that's okay.
Milne, what's yours?
It will probably be. I think the only whiskey I'll probably drink in Adelaide is going to be highballs. I think we'll take something. Probably start with twofold is normally in the bag when we go across, and the rest of them drink gin more than whiskey, but we'll probably convert them slowly over time. But yeah, I think simple highballs is probably the most whiskey that we'll be drinking over the course of the few days that we're there. It's just Adelaide's too fucking hot to have a bloody whiskey, and it just the idea of that. And also my father-in-law has very, very amazing red wine collection, and so I feel like I'm basically, if I'm pulling out a glass of whiskey, I'm denying myself a glass of something red that he's going to be drinking anyway. So
does anyone here do the sparkling Shiraz over Christmas? Does anyone here do sparkling Shiraz? I do. I know I like a good sparkling Shiraz, a sparkling red. Just
Absolutely.
It's the only time I ever crack one is at Christmas.
I just don't enjoy them that much. There was one brand that I used to work with called Redheads in South Australia, and there was like a really young, fresh, fruity style of sparkling Shiraz. But the others, like the older style, I don't like them at all. I find them really earthy, and if you can get me like a really like super sweet fruity style, delicious. But
I can get you fruity Lexia for about $3.50 a bottle.
there we go.
There we go.
Or as Lisa recently told me, you can on Oxford Street in Sydney, you can get $15 magnums of anything wine related that you want. They're not premium, but they're $15 magnums. So
you know, a friend of mine who used to go to the same restaurant every New Year's Eve, and they had a flat rate. It was like a $15 BYO rate. It wasn't per bottle. It was and he'd end up trying to find the biggest possible bottle of champagne he could buy, and it ended up sort of 6 and 9 liter Jeroboams and Methuselahs to bring, and so that he was still paying the $15 rate for BYO, but bringing a 9 liter bottle of Moet Chandon.
I've done that with a 5 liter bottle of red.
Yeah,
you rock up. It's like, it's a flat charge. it said per bottle.
If Jonathan Walsack is listening, I do have a bottle of whiskey here for you if you want to pick it up on your way to that restaurant.
Yes, that was Jonathan Walsack. Yeah, you know that one. It's a classic.
Yeah, famously, one of Australia's best whiskey bloggers is the Whiskey Ledger. Absolute cheapskate when it comes to corkage fees. Jared, we have a request coming in from the chat. The young Liz O'Neill says, Jared, bring something we can share on Christmas Day. So
no worries, Mum.
I think, yeah, your answer might have been a little bit selfish there. If Whiskey Roundtable does nothing else, it just brings mums together. That's what happens.
I mean, that's the worst possible thing. Like, a consortium of mothers is the most dangerous.
Hey.
A consortium of mothers.
It's almost like a murder of crows. It's one of those. It's just a dangerous group to be around. I feel you feel at ease, or no, you don't feel at ease. Sorry.
All right. So we're going to ask around now. Scotty, you about to say?
No, I get that feeling we're getting to the business end of the last Whiskey Roundtable of the year. So I was pulling the sleeves up for whatever it is you're going to ask.
No, I was just going to ask.
Because obviously this is a nice, easy stream, and we've all got our own answers, and all answers are correct. But also we're going to judge everyone by their answers and find out whose is the best answer. Because everything is a competition, remember? You're all being judged, but you're also not being judged. This is great. You're all fine. We really want to just ask everyone who's joined us tonight, just ask, we've sort of had, as we say, a bit of a rough year, and for everyone in many ways, and we want to look to 2021 into what you're looking forward to, what you've been planning, what you've been looking at doing, what the next steps are for you. It might be for your distillery, it might be for your releases, it might be whatever that you're looking forward to. As Scotty started with, the optimism of next year, and what that looks like. Jared,
I'm looking forward to being in the presence of people again.
Yeah,
it's going to be nice to do some more whiskey tastings at bars. I love the online format, but it's going to be good to see a lot of familiar faces again and new faces as well. So I can't wait to get back out there and do some more tastings, share some more whiskey, and obviously now with the new upgrade at the distillery, it's going to be great to have people in the doors and show everyone around. And if this is a competition, everyone who comes to the distillery while I'm there, I'll make sure they get some nice barrel sampled whiskies.
Oh, there we go. For those who have been watching, but might not know what that means. I mean, not the second part, but Starwood have grown upwards rather than out at the moment. And that's really exciting to see you guys taking that next step, I think. And it's, and seeing what that looks like for the future of even the flavor and development of your spirit. So that's exciting. And I agree with you. I'm looking forward to
that is definitely one of my highlights, is just getting across to Melbourne. Unfortunately, I can't use it as an excuse to work because I don't look after Starwood anymore. But getting over there, just find an excuse to go to Melbourne, and then by chance, I'm just going to book all of my meetings at the distillery and say, yeah, you've got to come and meet us here, and it's fine. Yeah. Spend the day there.
Peter.
Yes, what I'm looking forward to is exporting. I've got 3 very serious takers. One to America. They want some rye whiskey to America. And another one is some oat whiskey to Ireland, which is getting pretty close to going. And probably in some ways the coast to Newcastle is whiskey to Scotland.
I mean, oat whiskey to Ireland actually doesn't surprise me at all. It's kind of like that. It's almost like that import bread at this point. It's almost going back to that Irish famine days of, hey, let's import some barley and let's import some oat. And
it's true. And Peter, and this is why we love you so much, because every time we have it on a stream, when we have the tasting of the oak barrel, even every time I speak to you on the phone, there's a sentence that no one else has ever said in the history of the English language before that you come up with every time during a conversation. Selling oat whiskey to Ireland. No one's ever said that ever before until just then. So that's very, very exciting.
I'm also excited to hear that America wants some of your rye. For a country that produces so much of their own rye, it's kind of like, it's a really interesting point of difference for the US market. Is that something that has sort of been communicated, Peter, or?
Well, I think my rye is quite different from theirs. And
it is, yeah.
That's probably why they want it.
But even on a sort of a rudimentary level, it's a rye and bourbon country. In the small stuff is the single malt over there.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like, just whiskey to Scotland and rye to America. It's sort of in that same class, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I just find that fascinating, and it's obviously a very different market and different point of difference. It's not your Rittenhouses and your Jim Beams. It's something a bit different. Yeah. And by the way, Rittenhouse is great. Sorry, Milne.
Yep. Anyway, that's what I'm looking forward to. Everybody else?
I'm going to go clockwise. Mark, tell us what you're looking forward to in the context of Wolfburn or yourself for next year. What does that look like after this year?
I think doing this, like the Zoom tastings, has been incredible. It really has, because some distilleries have decided to do their own sort of blog or maybe video content or podcast, but we took the decision to support our distributors and support our retailers, the folk that are actually at the coalface, like getting hand selling our product to folks. So I hope, and it's my duty to continue with a lot more Zoom and sort of platform tastings as well, because it's such a good way to get your product, to get the liquid to the lips, as I say, for folk to be sitting, to support the local retailer and to expand the brand. So yeah, I want to meet folk, I want to press the flesh, give the big hugs, but on the sort of the balance, I want to be doing a hell of a lot more tastings and Zooming across the world as we have done this year. Like I've got one at 7:30 in the morning next month for Whisky and Ailment. So that's going to be a blast, getting up at dark o'clock and welcoming folk. I don't know whether if it's in the bar or if it'll be an online at home as well. So, but yeah, exciting times. But yeah, for us at Wolfburn, that's what we plan. We've got a couple of warehouses going up as well, so we're expanding on site, and it means that we have supreme control of our spirit. We don't have to tanker it away elsewhere, and we can let the Northern Highlands expertly mature our beautiful, phenomenal spirit that we have.
Absolutely. And if you have lots of comments coming through, and I just want to say a quick g'day to someone who commented, Rittenhouse is fabulous. A legend of the industry, Gordon Dundas, who has been through many things and done many things. And we all are very, very excited about what you're working on right now. Is he knighted yet? Is he knighted yet? Can we call him Sir Dundas yet, or is we just waiting for that? I'm sure it's just paperwork coming through, but Sir Dundas we're waiting through. But yeah, and Mark, we look forward, may not be next year, but we look forward to having you back in Australia. Yeah. But until then, can you send me a high-res photo of yourself so we can just frame one in the tasting room here? Just put it next to the board you signed.
Yeah, I'll look at something. Clothed or unclothed? What do you fancy?
Both.
In front of a castle. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have to ask,
you just want a turret to block the.
Yeah, I don't really care as long as there's a castle behind you.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll get a wee selfie later on today.
John Jarvis, what are you looking forward to next year? What have you learned from this year that we're looking forward to for next?
This year didn't really change too much for us. We don't have a cellar door here. We don't do a lot of events here. I personally just want to travel. I feel like I've made all these new friends and connections through COVID because I just must be so much more charming and charismatic over Zoom and phone than I am in person. So I'm, keen to just go and follow up some of these, with some of these people that I've met and dealt with throughout COVID. Here, business-wise, whiskey-wise, it won't change a lot. We'll just keep doing what we're doing. But I just want to travel. I don't travel far. I don't do much, but it's a lot of fun when I do it. So I just need to get out of Tasmania for a bit. That's it, just a little bit.
Yeah. Don't do it before this weekend, otherwise I'll miss you.
Fuck, you're down this weekend, aren't you? I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's all right.
John, we have had Matt Bailey in Sydney and New South Wales for 8 months straight. We need to get him out. Please, someone take him.
I'm going to Tassie, don't worry.
Yeah, but the weather's going to be shit this weekend, so
Don't say that. I need it to be good on Saturday afternoon. You know that.
Who plans an event on the lawn in Tasmania? Really?
Someone from Sydney.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're going to find out the hard way. We're going to find out the hard way. Lee and Bree, tell me, what is you've taken a? I saw you post recently about delaying the whole sort of launch of your cellar door. Was it your tasting room? What does it look like for you next year?
We will be open in about 5 weeks.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, so we're aiming for 23rd of Jan opening. Yeah, so it's sort of full steam ahead for that, really. We were hoping we were going to be open sort of mid this year, so it's a few months behind, but it's actually, it's been a pretty good year for Backwoods. But next year we're really excited. Like, the space is coming together, looking really awesome.
That's amazing.
And we just can't wait to see people and have a drink with them, and welcome lots of people to Yak, and it's gonna be good.
And I know, because this is a competition, although the distillery doesn't have a restaurant, I'm happy to offer anyone that comes and mentions they saw this, that I'll give them a bowl of cereal for it.
Yes! The round table bottle of cereal.
And I'm going to have a little bit at the back.
Samples of cereal.
Yes. That's a little bit at the back if you want to have a nap.
Does the continental option include barbecue shapes or cereal, or
continental option?
I'm thinking Cheerios.
Cheerio. Oh, okay. Is there going to be one cereal choice, or is it going to be a multi? Is it going to be
talk about the whiskey, not the cereal. You don't have a job anymore.
Are you guys making like a Cocoa Pop whiskey? Because I think that'd be really cool.
Some Cocoa Pops in the back of the cupboard.
Help him focus, guys. Seriously, we need to have an income next year.
The whiskey and porridge makes, so why not whiskey and Cheerios? Or
Milne,
whiskey and smoky whiskey, porridge and smoky whiskey, fantastic.
Porridge and smoky whiskey. Wow. Okay. Yep.
I hope this party goes to the morning, because I've got a few more ideas right now.
Milne, you said something before, but you expand on what you're looking forward to next year in your South Trade realm.
I'm genuinely looking to getting back out to the other states. I've still never been to Western Australia, other than stopping there mid-flight from the UK and getting back onto another plane and coming over to Sydney. I'm excited to get out and see other people. I think it's been an amazing year of catching up with people digitally and virtually, and it's wonderful to do that, but getting back out there and actually seeing someone face to face is a whole different thing. So I think there's that. I've got a huge amount of new things arriving next year in terms of stock, and there's a lot of different whiskies that I'll be bringing into Australia that I've started working on 9 months ago. So it's going to take February to September to see them come to fruition, but it's quite fun to see something that started it in the shit time, and hopefully in the more positive time we're seeing it all come to life and enjoy it. So there's a lot of fun juice that I'm ready to share with the world.
I'm going to leave the best till last, which is Scotty. I'm going to echo a lot of what you've said. I'm just looking forward to, as Scotty said, I've been stuck in Sydney for the last 8 months, and so being able to get back around to all of our amazing partner bars and members around Australia for the society is my biggest sort of thing looking forward to, of course. And but I've got to say, just on a little point, is I'm looking forward to what the hybrid kind of looks like between, because we all just say it's online events or it's in-person events, and I think separating them is unnecessary, and they are one and the same, and that you can hybridize.
Tune into the Oak Barrel on mid-January for a hybrid of live and not live with this
guy, this Ian Taylor pitch. Okay, but yes.
Also, I didn't agree to that.
Already worked it out
because I haven't worked out how we're going to do it yet. But yeah, cool. I didn't reply to that email, but let's do
I mean,
it. Okay.
both the Oak
Cool.
Barrel, I know Oak Barrel has, and I know we have as well. We've done a few hybrids already, but it's just that the evolution of that I think is very exciting, and what that looks like and how people connect with it, I think is fascinating, and why not? And we've talked about that on Roundtable before, but Scotty, go for it,
mate. I think we've all been through the ringer. I think first and foremost, I'm hoping for a very calm Christmas and New Year's period with no drama, just good drinks, good people, getting around each other, having a bit of fun. It's I think, as I said in the intro tonight, it's been a very stressful year, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that come out in what is like a stressful period of the year in the best of years. Is the December, wrapping up work, trying to meet deadlines, presents. Am I going to get there? Am I going to be here? Who am I going to see? Do I really like that part of the family? Not really. Do I need to go and see? Like all that sort of stress, coming to the fore with all the stress of the year. And so I think, I'm really looking forward to just hopefully myself and everyone having a bit of a decompression, bit of a chill, coming back next year. But I think I'm echoing what we said last week and what's been said tonight, just getting out and saying good day to some people again. And getting to yak and acting very responsibly, and definitely like just sitting on the lawn and like going to bed at a reasonable hour.
Yes.
Eating 3 meals a day while I do it. Drinking a glass of water in between every alcoholic drink that I do. So for me, that's what I look forward to into yak. But there's so much that's happened. As we all know, like Starwood is irrecognizable from when I was last there. I haven't been down to see Peter in the flesh for well over 12 months. There was a few people commenting here about about what they were looking forward to next year is various trips around the country. I saw someone say, Kirsten said, getting to Backwoods. Whisky is my jam. Said, getting to the whiskey, like the Oak Barrel Whiskey Fair. All that sort of stuff. And getting to Whiskey Freedom in Perth Whiskey Freedom in Perth, and it's not Whiskey and Dreams, the old Independence Day in Melbourne. All these things. I think it's really important, and hopefully, I think to sort of echo what you were saying, Matt, is to also continue the things that we have built during adversity. Continue with Whisky Roundtable and all the things that we've been doing, and I think that's probably a pertinent note to say thank you to everyone who's watched and put up with four idiots and someone obviously more intelligent and better looking than we get on every now and again throughout the year. All the people who've joined us on the streams, everyone who's asked questions, who's commented or sent us emails or mentioned it in the store, as I'm sure you guys have felt as well. All around the world, we've had, obviously Mark's here tonight. We've had lots of guests international. It's just been a really, a silver lining in a pretty bloody average year. So to continue that, I think is definitely the way we need to go. And I just heard Alex at Mjolnir going, shit, there's something I really want to say now. So that counts as a swear word. So I'm going to have a shot because she's stuck there. And I do want to say thank you to her as well for all her input. And I did also just, I posted a link to the Zoom chat in, I think, all three chats, not YouTube chat, obviously, because that's a weird place and we don't want to deal with that. But if anyone wants to come and join us for a drink after we go live, I don't know if anyone else is going to stay, but I'll stay here because I've got nothing else to do tonight. Come and say good day. But I like an incredibly heartfelt and tremendously profound thank you to everyone on a personal note, and I guess from a business Oak Barrel note from everyone. I think probably Milne and Bailey would echo those sentiments.
I said internally in the group, it's I turned to a colleague yesterday, what started out as a random me being bored and missing the fact that Scott and I used to bump into the pub to see each other all the time. As soon as March hit and I was not going and seeing him in the pub, I was like, well, this sucks. Let's chat shit about whiskey online. He had more vision than I had. Definitely. It was, from my case.
2020, mate. Don't need glasses. Yeah. Bloody genius. 2020.
But yeah, from what was just a case of like, let's just catch up and find a way to talk and not be branded, but actually just talk to people in the industry and celebrate the great people that we have in our industry. It's incredible to see what what has been of this year, and everyone here in this room right now is testament to that. And it's I've met a lot of you from this, and it's been a wonderful journey. And I made Mike cry. So if I can make a Viking Scot cry, then I can do anything. So 2021 is my year.
Pretty soppy. Like I don't know.
Bales, any final notes before I say farewell to our friends on the stream?
No, I think you've said everything. I want to thank you all of you for being part of the roundtable individually this year, but also tonight just to have a few Christmas drinks and a bit of cheer. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
I promise you, the roundtable will happen in some shape or form in a physical sense next year with everyone around it. Probably during August, during Forum, which I now have to do as well as fair. Fucking hell. But we'll make it happen.
Oh, this is how you tell us,
Yeah.
Announcement.
Everyone, everyone on the Facebook, YouTube. I did post the links if you want to come and join us. I think there's a couple of them in the waiting room that we're going to let in a second. Thank you. Have a safe one. Be sensible. Have a lot of fun, and we will see you all in a physical capacity as much as possible in 2021. Because as anyone in any other country will attest to, we have done exceptionally well in this country to beat this invisible enemy, and we are looking in exceptional shape to get around each other and get life back to where it needs to be. So thank you all for all your efforts in whatever shape that was, and we will see you very, very soon.
Bunch.
Yes,
Cheers, guys.
thank you very much, Scotty.
Happy New Year, guys.
Merry Christmas.